Hello and welcome everyone. So, is there a possibility that the Lok Sabha speaker is going to be removed? So, that is going to be one of the most important news items today. My name is Chiranjit Mishra and I'm going to discuss the news today items of February 11th. Let's quickly go through the 5 main news items and 7 to 8 also in the news. There is also a place in the news which is the United Kingdom. Okay, let's quickly go through the news items. The main news items today are no confidence motion against Lok Sabha Speaker. Second is mandating disclosure for AI generated content. The third is India's vision for democratizing AI access. So the second and third news are related. Then the fourth news is new draft DAP for modern defense. And the last main news is Niti Aayog's report or a push for critical mineral exploration, which is very important for India's vision net zero by 2070 and Viksit Bharat by 2047. Let's quickly go through the also in the news or quick updates. So the first quick update is about the renewable energy pipeline, and at the global level it is too much close to 5 terawatts of energy and India's contribution is close to 170 gigawatts. The second quick update is about 2 telescopes in Hanle Dark Sky Reserve in Ladakh. The third news is about a reduction of TCS for outward remittance. Then Cybercrime Coordination Center S4C dashboard under I4C, which is a part of Ministry of Home Affairs. We will expand the abbreviations while discussing the news. Then 10.5 lakh officials have been trained under Mission Karma Yogi, which is run by the Department of Personnel and Training. Then it's a good piece of news as regards governance in India, as India's rank has risen. India has performed better due to better governance, and it's 91 in Corruption Perception Index, which is released by Transparency International. The last news is about deep earthquakes which take place in mantle. So now we need to change the maps of earthquakes. The last piece of news which is placed in the news, as I mentioned in the beginning, is United Kingdom. Now let's quickly go through, let's take a detailed approach for the main news items, beginning with whether or not the Lok Sabha speaker is going to be removed. Okay, we are not going to use the word impeached, which is used in the case of the President of India. Here it's removal of the Lok Sabha speaker, just like removal or resignation of the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. So within a very short span of time, let's say within 1 year, 2 presiding officers have been in the news. One, that of the Rajya Sabha, Shri Jagdish Dhankad, who resigned last year, and this time it is the opposition, the leader of opposition, and together with the opposition parties, they have decided to move this particular resolution for removing the Lok Sabha speaker. Now, the news item is definitely interesting, but you have to understand why this piece of news is important from the point of view of prelims and mains. First of all, the articles involved, okay? Just like I said in the beginning, that you have to memorize the articles, okay? So here in this case, it is article 94, precisely 94C, जिसके under the removal of the deputy speaker and speaker of the Lok Sabha are concerned. Jagdish Dhankad, honorable ex-vice president and chairman of the Rajya Sabha, he resigned, and the article involved was Article 67A. Who knows, UPSC may ask a pair type question based on the articles and the provisions included. Okay, so Article 94C, Article 67A. 94C is for Lok Sabha speaker, and Article 67, the entire article is about the vice president or the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Article 67A is about resignation. Okay. Similarly, sometimes news articles, they often misuse the term impeachment. Here he is not going to be impeached. The word impeachment can only be used for the President of India, which is governed under Article 61. I hope it is visible. Article 61. Okay. And no confidence motion, well, it is used for the entire government. In the constitution, there is no mention of the word no confidence motion for this case, for Lok Sabha speaker. You can go through Article 94 or all the sub articles. There is no mention of the word. Okay. Now, why it started? As you all know, there was an argument going on related to an unpublished book, and the leader of the opposition, he was stopped from discussing on the same matter and there were a few other issues which you can just browse the internet and check, but that is not important. What is important is this motion that has been initiated for the removal of the Lok Sabha Speaker. Let's quickly go through the important aspects of this particular news item. Okay. So as you can see, context is opposition submitted a resolution seeking removal of Shri Om Birla. Article 94, as we have discussed, 94C, which precisely deals with the removal of the Deputy Speaker and the Speaker, and the motion has to be passed if the Speaker is to be removed by 50% of the current members of Lok Sabha. That means, as you know, the maximum strength of Lok Sabha is 552. Currently it is 543. So 50% of this number, 543, that means close to 271.5. This is the absolute number, but we have to deal with whole numbers. So the number is 272. Okay, current members. If Lok Sabha membership had been close to 530, so 530 divided by 2 plus 1. Okay. So by majority of all current Lok Sabha members, you have to memorize the facts and understand, because UPSC, in the UPSC prelims, several questions have been asked with regard to the office of Lok Sabha Speaker. This 2025, 2024 direct question. Okay. An MP wishing to give such a notice to the Lok Sabha, it has to be done through the Secretary General of Lok Sabha. And that notice has to be supported by 50 members. Okay. 50 Lok Sabha members, the notice must be supported by. And you simply cannot submit the notice and seek the removal of the speaker. There is a lapse of 14 days. 14 दिन का time चाहिए. Okay. A removal resolution cannot be moved without a minimum 14-day notice of the intention. ये भी उनके notice में आना चाहिए, and a particular day is listed for discussion of this matter. Okay. And listing is done by the speaker himself, but he cannot serve as a presiding officer when this motion is being discussed, when this subject is being discussed. Okay. So moving to the next page. After receiving the notice, a motion for leave to move the resolution is placed in the list of business on a day chosen by the speaker. यहाँ तक speaker का काम है. But a question has been asked, what are the powers of the Lok Sabha speaker when this is under discussion? Let's go through. Very interesting, and who knows, UPSC has a tendency to repeat questions. This question may again be asked. Either this one or the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, that is the vice president. During such a discussion of the the speaker cannot preside over the house. Although he can act and take part in the meetings like a normal member, he loses the power of casting vote. आपको पता ना, when there is a tie, the presiding officer has the power to exercise casting vote. That power no more rests. Okay, but he can vote in first instance. इतना तो कर सकते हैं जब सारे members vote कर रहे हो. Historically, it has happened several times, but not a single speaker has been removed. In 1954, the first speaker of the Lok Sabha, G.V. Mavalankar, then Sardar Hukam Singh in 1966, and third case, Balram Jhakar in 1987. So this is the fourth incident. So far, not a single speaker has been removed. Okay, itna jankari kafi hai. And you should also prepare, taking into consideration the fact that there is a possibility for this theme to be asked in GS Mains Paper 2. Okay, polity के point of view से काफी important है ये. 2025 prelims में question आया था. Let's quickly go through. Whenever you get such a question in which ABCD actually had, I mean in this particular format, 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3 only, it's a very good chance and opportunity to use the elimination technique. If there is one statement that is wrong, you will directly reach the answer. Definitely अगर एक गलत है तो D कभी नहीं होगा. देखते हैं क्या है. On the discussion of the House of the People, the Speaker shall not vacate his or her office until immediately before the first meeting of the House of the People after the dissolution. Of course, House of the Office remains intact even if the Lok Sabha is dissolved. First statement is correct. Second statement, according to the provisions of the Constitution of India, a member of the House of the People on being elected as Speaker shall resign from his or her political party immediately. Political party immediately, there is this grammatical error. No. This does not apply to the Indian political setup. It happens in the UK. Once you become or you are chosen or elected as the Speaker of the lower house, you have to resign from your party. ये India में नहीं होता. इसलिए statement 2 is incorrect. So what is the answer? If 2 is incorrect, ये हट गया, ये हट गया, ये हट गया. So C is the correct answer, 1 and C. You don't even need to check the correctness of the third statement. Okay. Similarly, another question in 2024, with reference to the Lok Sabha Speaker, consider the following statements. When such a resolution, see direct question from this theme in 2024, while any resolution for the removal of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha is under consideration, he or she shall not preside. Of course, this is correct. This is correct. He or she shall not have the right to speak. ये incorrect है. He can act or take part in the discussion like a normal member. He or she shall not be entitled to vote on the resolution in the first instance. ये भी incorrect है. Casting vote power चला गया, but not this power. तो ये भी incorrect है. Only statement 1 is correct. Okay. So now the next important news is again related to GS paper 2 and 3 about the regulations that have to be followed by the social media intermediaries due to the flooding of the social media platforms by AI generated images and videos. Okay. So we already had rules, guidelines, which were intermediary guideline rules 2021, but now taking into consideration the new types of technologies we have, large language models and emerging related models and devices, we have to revise the rules, and the rules have not been applied yet. Okay, so they're going to be applied very soon. So this is important from the point of view both GS paper 2 AI related governance and the cybercrime and cyber security challenges, which is covered in the security part portion of GS paper 3. Okay, so what are the new rules? Let us quickly go through. New 2026 IT rules regulate synthetic and AI content. Okay, synthetic content has been defined as per these rules. Synthetic content means, as you know, artificial. So any audio, visual or audiovisual images or videos generated using any computer resource. Simply I'm saying, okay, any audio, video or visual or audiovisual content that intends to harm somebody's personal life or interest is considered to be synthetic content. Okay, synthetic content ho gaya, but if it's for educational purpose, then that won't be considered or that won't come under synthetic content. Otherwise, anything that is synthetic in this, as per these rules, have to be eliminated or removed. Okay, or properly scrutinized. If it is for educational purpose, then it cannot be removed. But it is mandatory for the social media intermediaries to mention clearly, to mention using labels. So AI labeling भी एक बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा है इस चीज में कि this video is for educational purpose and it is AI generated. Okay, ये लिखना बहुत जरूरी है. If they don't use the labels, then strict actions can be taken against the social media platforms. वो Twitter हो, YouTube हो या फिर similar other Instagram. ठीक है. Earlier, these social media platforms, they had a provision using which they could easily hide under or behind the user. सारा blame user पे जाता था. It's called, this provision is called safe harbor provision. But as per these rules, this safe harbor provision can be removed by the, or can be overlooked by the government. सारा responsibility social media platforms पे ही आ जाएगा. Now, even if a particular user uploads an AI generated content that intends to cause harm against somebody's interest, the ultimate responsibility will be that of the social media platform, not of the user. Okay, of course user तो punish होगा ही, साथ में social media intermediary. So synthetic content defined, as I mentioned, definition क्या हो गया? Audio, audiovisual or visual images or videos that are created using a computer resource. ये आ गया synthetic content. Routine edits and educational material excluded, as I mentioned. All synthetic media must display clear AI generated labels कि this video has been created by an AI tool. Platforms prohibited from removing metadata or unique identifiers. This is very important. Mains में भी पूछा सकता है. For example, if I upload a particular video which can cause harm to somebody's interest, all the related data, मेरा IP address, the time of publication and other details, they have to be stored and not removed by the social media platforms. Why? Because if I am the culprit, it will be easy to catch me if metadata is available. Agar social media platforms are going to remove the metadata, then it will be difficult to trace the criminal or the culprit. Okay, so metadata cannot be removed. There is a prohibition on the removal of the metadata. SSMIs, significant social media intermediaries. Significant means, as the name is suggestive, like Twitter or YouTube, because they have a large subscriber base. Okay, they must verify user declarations before publishing synthetic content. Okay, non-compliance may lead to loss of safe harbor protection. As I mentioned, ये आपका इसका मतलब क्या हो गया? Safe harbor मतलब using this protection, the social media intermediaries used to have certain privileges. The entire responsibility or burden was on the user, but now they can also be brought to book. Okay. Synthetic CSAM, this means child sexual abuse material, or NCI, non-consensual, very intimate images, and false documents must be blocked. For example, if it's related to child abuse, okay, for example, pornographic material or real material related to showing a couple in like compromising positions, these things, they should be immediately blocked. Okay, takedown timelines reduced drastically from 36 to 3 hours. This is very important. Earlier there was a lot of time, so during that particular time the videos and images used to get circulated very fast, they used to go viral. Now the timeline has been reduced. पहले 1.5 दिन होता था, 36 hours, now it is 3 hours, and for some cases it is also 2 hours. 2 hours. Okay. Grievance redressal deadline shortened significantly from 15 to 7 days. Again, this is a good step in the right direction. For example, if I am going to lodge a complaint, the entire processing time was 15 days earlier. It has been reduced to 1 week. Other measures क्या हो गया? Digital Data Protection Act and Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, they are going to supplement the provisions of these new IT rules. Okay. So I4C, which is under the Ministry of Home Affairs, and we are going to cover another quick update based on I4C dashboard, which is actually the Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, which is actively involved in taking down the content and regulating social media intermediaries. Okay, it was established in the year 2018. It does not come under MeitY, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. No, cross. It comes under Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, that's it. There was a news in 2013. In 2026, you can expect a question. Okay, because before 2022, which served as a watershed year, after which large language models became very famous. Before that, there were no large language models. Okay, we're talking about cybercrime and cybersecurity in general. So similarly, question was asked in 2013. What are social networking sites and what security implications do these sites present? Okay, you can pause the video and think about the question. Very basic question. Democratization of AI, another related news, but this is about how AI is going to be democratized, or how AI is supposed to be democratized. And this is the Indian context we're talking about. And you know why? Because very soon, I think from February 16th to February 20th ke beech mein, India is going to host the India AI Impact Expo Summit. Okay, in Delhi it will take place, and this for the first time such a summit is going to take place in the global south. So India is lucky to have this opportunity. And now we're going to talk about democratization of AI. The context is this. That's why a very nice article on was published on PIB. Okay, so how AI needs to be democratized. Democratization does not just mean that all the people of this country, all the commoners, they're able to use AI based apps. Okay, this is the first step towards democratization, कि सबके पास जानकारी हो AI related apps का. Okay, now everyone, even the senior citizens, they are using ChatGPT or Gemini. But this is just a very basic level of democratization. What is the higher level of democratization? It is about sharing infrastructure, data sets, and all that which lay the foundation of any AI model. Okay. For example, if data sets are American, data sets are European, how India is going to benefit? India has to rely upon their models. And you cannot have a working model of your own if you do not train a model on enough data. Okay. So as you know, this AI stack, this entire AI thing is actually 5-layered. You can note it down also. 5-layered AI stack. Stack means एक के ऊपर एक. 5-layered AI stack. First is your data layer. Data. Without data, you cannot have a model because AI models predict. And for a predictive model to work, you need data. Okay. Through data only a model will understand. Second is infrastructure, the GPU part. Okay. Just like CPU, GPU क्या होते हैं? These are chips using which AI models can be trained. Third हो गया क्या हो गया? ML, machine learning layer. Okay. Which is the first step towards having an AI model. Machine learning का अलग next level होता है deep learning, which we use in AI models. So before deep learning, the first step is machine learning. Fourth is your API level, application programming interface. So this is the most popular way companies in India are using AI. आप देखोगे ना, there is an AI rush. API मतलब the entire model is with somebody else. Okay, the entire infrastructure. You just have an access to use that algorithm. Okay, API related. And the last is end user. जो आप हम लोग सारा यूज करते हैं, ChatGPT and Gemini. So data, infrastructure, machine learning, API and end user. You can write it in your mains answer, you'll get a very good score. This entire AI stack is 5-layered. Okay, and democratization does not just mean that end user को democratize कर दिया कि now all the commoners they are able to use ChatGPT. That is the first step towards democratization of AI. Democratization तब होगा complete when all the 5 layers are positively affected. That means India has its own indigenous data, its own infrastructure, GPU, data centers, machine learning models, then API. हम लोग बाहर को भी export कर सकते हैं, but we need to have this foundational requirements. Only then we can say true democratization has happened. Let's quickly go through. Okay, this is also very important from the point of view of essay, GS paper 3 and GS paper 2, AI related governance. Okay. कुछ बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं जानना है. We have discussed these issues again and again. What does democratization of AI mean? Accessible, affordable, usable. कोई भी चीज़ का democratization जब होता है, be it electricity, be it water resources, there are 3 terms that you can use: affordability, accessibility, and usability. ठीक है? This is not AI specific. This is these 3, these 3 terms form the backbone of democratization of any public utility. Not just offering finished AI apps but also access. जो मैंने बोला, सिर्फ ऐप देने से कुछ नहीं होगा. We need data sets, GPU and machine learning models. Computing power, data sets, AI model ecosystem ensures a wide variety of users benefit, not only big companies. If somebody wants to have a very small startup based on AI, how will he or she do? We need to provide them with GPUs, small skills, जिसका skill बहुत बड़ा ना हो, छोटा level का. That is why we are trying to rent it out. Now we have this trying to come up with renting model. अगर मेरे पास GPU है, मैं किसी को दे दूंगा. You can use my GPU to train your model, but you have to pay me some amount. Let's say 100 rupees per hour. But in this case, they have proposed 65 rupees per hour. Okay. Democratization, AI applications for public impact. Bhashini portal is already there. Kisan Mitra, which helps farmers with AI-driven advice. And Mosam GPT is something we are working on, which is AI for weather and disaster management. Again, it's going to help the farmers also because 70% of the Indian agriculture is monsoon dependent. Okay. Accessibility data and models. So this thing you need to focus upon. AI Kosh. AI Kosh means fund. लेकिन ये fund is not a monetary fund. It's a fund related to data sets. इसमें बहुत सारे data हैं. And data in a way is money. Data is today's oil, बोलते ना. 7,500 plus data sets हैं, which are freely available. फिर अफोर्डेबल कंप्यूटिंग पावर अभी क्या क्या इंडिया प्लान कर रहा है. ऑलरेडी अंडर इंडिया AI मिशन वी हैड प्लान टू 10,000 GPUs, बट नाउ वी हैव 38,000 plus GPUs. सब्सिडाइज्ड रेट फॉर रेंटिंग 65 rupees per hour. ओके, जैसे मैंने बोला, इफ एनीबडी कैनॉट परचेज GPUs or manufacture GPUs, whoever has, he or she, that entity can rent it out. We are not talking about individual level but organizational or firm level. Okay. Sustainable energy for AI. The biggest challenge is managing data centers in a sustainable manner. Data centers होते क्या? They house GPU stacks and they need a lot of power, and the power ultimately that they're going to consume is going to be obtained by burning coal. But ऐसा अगर होता रहा तो pollution level already जैसा आपको पता है, there will also be a scarcity of important resources. इसलिए we're trying to use renewable. रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी हम करना चाहते हैं 50% ऑफ द डेटा सेंटर्स, ये हमारा टारगेट है, 50% of installed capacity using renewables. Okay, so already in Ghaziabad also there is a proposal to set up a green data center which is run by power obtained from renewable sources, wind power हो गया या फिर clean sources, let's say you can say EV हो गया, electric I mean yeah lithium based batteries हो गया, or solar power. Okay, so what are the steps and measures already taken? We have this Data Protection Act, okay, for democratization. Democratization of data or AI also means there is a security or safety aspect, okay, because if you want to circulate data among several players, security aspect comes into play, and that has been taken care of through this particular act. Center of Excellence we have already created. Center of Excellence वो होते हैं centers in which several teams of like-minded people, they work together to research upon anything new, cutting edge technologies. Okay, skilling for AI readiness initiative for youth. This Yuva AI initiative is for school-going children, and then AI competency framework, which is going to create a curriculum which is going to train ultimately school-going children. Step-by-step learning. Okay. So democratization का मतलब आ गया, requirements क्यों है, and what are the steps taken. So that completes the entire issue. Now there is this draft defense acquisition procedure 2026. Just like we had the intermediary guidelines shared by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, this is regarding defense acquisition. Okay, this is also going to replace an existing DAP or defense acquisition procedure, which is your DAP 2020. Already एक है and it is doing well. So DAP 2020 जो था, it focused upon indigenization of defense technologies. That means we will try to increase or scale up our domestic production of defense equipments and technologies, and we'll try to rely less upon imports. Everything was okay, hunky-dory. So what is this DAP 2026 trying to achieve? See, it is also at the core of this DAP 2026 which has been proposed, at the core of it or at the heart of it sits what? Indigenization. Then you may ask, what is new? What is new is that, taking into consideration the changes in geopolitics and geoeconomics, we cannot rely upon a single or handful number of countries. We need to diversify our options. So changing geostrategic circumstances, changing geostrategic circumstances that forced us to come up with a new and updated DAP, that is DAP 2026. Okay, of course we are going to again or keep focusing upon indigenization, but what is new? If you're not able to read, I'm just reading it out. If you're not changing geostrategic circumstances, why? Because see, India-US relationship has been unstable so far. Now secondary sanctions are going to be imposed by the United States, whoever is going to maintain relations with Russia. So how will India choose partners? So these are what can be called changing geostrategic circumstances. इसको नजर में रखते हुए we are going to work on our defense acquisition procedure. Let's quickly go through the salient features. Okay. So Department of Defense has prepared the draft. Okay. Aim is to jointness. Jointness means also we need to come up with modern technologies. Modern technologies, that means those technologies which can be used in a combined manner by all the three limbs of the armed forces: Indian Army, Navy and Air Force. So this is what jointness means here. All the three limbs of armed forces can work together. As you see, if you have to deal with an enemy like Pakistan, there should be jointness, the ability to work in a collaborative manner between Indian Army, Indian Navy and Indian Air Force. Air Force and defense primarily, then Navy. Atmanirbharta indigenization, which was already there in 2020 DAP. Force modernization, we need to train our armed forces for using modern weaponry, and scaling of defense production. And because to reduce our import, we need to not just produce defense technologies indigenously but also to scale it up ताकि production ज़्यादा हो और efficiently हो. Scaling up means producing at a large scale efficiently. Once approved, DAP 2026 will replace defense acquisition procedure. It has not been approved yet. Okay. Once approved, 2020, it has been proposed. Current state क्या? It has been proposed. Aligns defense acquisition with a rapidly evolving geostrategic landscape. I have marked it yellow because this is the most important point. Okay. Considers growth of the Indian economy and private defense industry. Other points, yes. Now you may ask, it prioritizes Buy Indian IDDM, indigenously designed, developed and manufactured category. This point was already there in DAP 2020. This is not something new that DAP 2026 is aiming at. It was already there in DAP 2020 में already था, which is very important for your mains answer also. If it was already there, why there was a new need? एक तो हो गया ये, दूसरा हो गया आत्मनिर्भरता, फोर्स मॉडर्नाइजेशन एंड जॉइंटनेस. इनको नजर में रखते हुए we thought कि it's high time that the DAP procedure is updated. DAP 2020 में हमने already क्या क्या steps लिए थे? Impose an embargo on import of 101 weapons. That means we stopped importing such weapons because we thought we can indigenously manufacture them. And there was a company and many foreign companies, they wanted to work in a collaborative manner with Indian companies and make those companies sound Indian. So that was a very crafty way to get a strong foothold in Indian defense industry. So to avoid that, a definition was created कि which company can be called Indian. वही company in which 50% of the capital is directly owned by an Indian entity. Okay, क्या पता किसी foreign companies ने सिर्फ किया let's say 30%, sorry 70% and 30% is Indian, but कुछ paper का इधर उधर करके they show कि this company is Indian, okay, to get the benefits. So DAP 2020 was already there, but taking into consideration the changed or changing circumstances, we thought DAP 2020, it's DAP, sorry, not DAF, DAP 2026 is required. Last main news about critical ET minerals, that means critical energy transition minerals for net zero and Viksit Bharat. So why this statement was in the news? This is as per a Niti Aayog report. Niti Aayog aims at securing the supply chains related to these minerals, critical emerging technology minerals. Okay, not only critical minerals, critical energy transition minerals. Energy transition क्यों हो रहा है? As you can, after reading the title of this news, you can easily understand that we have set two targets. एक तो हो गया अपना 247 का target, विकसित भारत, that means developed India, okay. दूसरा हो गया 2070. This is as per the Panchamrit, the national contribution submitted by the Indian government as per the Paris Agreement, कि by 2070 we are going to be net zero. हम जितना emission produce करेंगे सारा capture भी कर देंगे using carbon sequestration. Okay. If these two targets have to be met, then we need energy transition minerals. Critical minerals तो बहुत सारे minerals हो गए, उसका एक subset है critical energy transition minerals. For example, lithium. We are using EVs, we're planning to scale it up, but India imports all its lithium requirements. Not just lithium, which is used in EV, but also cobalt, nickel. ये सारे जो minerals है India 100% import करता अभी. And if we just rely upon China for imports or for importing such minerals, and what if there is a war with China? So India needs to diversify its options. And at the same time, India also needs to boost its domestic production. We have some reserves in India, but due to a poor mining techniques, poor prospecting techniques, we are not producing these critically important minerals, energy transition minerals, okay? So that is what the Niti Aayog report suggested. We need to diversify our supply chains and boost our domestic production. A question was asked related to the technological aspect of EV. कि कौन से elements are used as anodes and cathodes. Always remember in the case of EV, A cathode is a positively charged terminal. In all the batteries, cathode is the positively charged terminal and anode is the negatively charged terminal. Only for batteries, there is another type of cell which is called electrolytic cell. उसमें signs change हो जाते हैं. For EVs and batteries, cathode is the positively charged terminal and anode is a negatively charged terminal. Cathode किस किस से बनता है? ये लिथियम, कोबाल्ट, निकेल, एल्यूमिनियम, ये सब होते हैं कैथोड. Anode primarily graphite. This is what was asked in 2025. We'll go through that question also. Anode के लिए जो important material होता है वो graphite with some amount of silicon. Silicon use होता है. अच्छा, ये तो हो गया EV वाला part. Are these minerals the only critical energy transitioning minerals we're talking about? No. We also talk about uranium and thorium. Why? Because clean energy, one form of clean energy is also nuclear energy. So that also comes under uranium, thorium. India has thorium, but we are not using thorium now. In future, we are going to use. This also India imports from countries like Kazakhstan, Canada, Australia, and there was a time when the relation between India and Canada was strained. So again, we mostly rely upon Australia for uranium. So these are also critically energy transition minerals, not just EV related minerals, but also atomic power related minerals. Okay, let's quickly go through the salient features or aspects related to this particular news. I hope you understood. There is a requirement because two targets have to be met, and that's why we need stable supply chains or to boost domestic production. Niti Aayog says India's net zero 2070 part depends upon secure access to critical energy transition minerals. Already discussed, critical minerals are essential for economic growth and national security. It's always important to begin with a good introduction by defining that concept. Critical minerals are those minerals which are important for the national security of a country and also for its economic growth. And these minerals do not have easy replacements and alternatives. That is why we rely upon these minerals so much. ऐसा नहीं कि अगर ये नहीं मिल रहा तो किसी और से काम चला लो, है ना? Challenges क्या हैं? Demand is going to rise. India depends upon imports. ठीक है? And this import amount is going to rise in future. Heavy dependence upon China. We need to stop rely entirely upon China. We need to look for better options. Domestic gaps in domestic production. Okay, and domestic mining capability is very low as regards, not just critically important minerals, critically energy transition minerals, but also critical minerals like coal. Because India's mining ability or capability is very poor. So we can tie up with other countries through this particular program, which is called Khanij Videsh Limited. That means we are going to do or get involved in mineral partnership. Okay, there was another question related to critical mineral partnership. A national critical raw material analytical unit can also be created in India that can predict the future risks. This has been proposed under this Niti Aayog report. Okay. So let's quickly go through the next slide, which is a question based on critical minerals. Okay. India has joined the Mineral Security Partnership as a member. It was asked in your 2024 prelims. Again, it's a very easy question to answer because if one of the statements is wrong, you can easily reach the correct answer. First statement is correct, which is US led again. India is a resource-rich country in all the 30 critical minerals that it has identified. So see, this is technically wrong. If it's critical, then why has India declared or put it under the category of critical mineral? If it is critical, that means India is relying upon imports. That means India is not producing domestically enough of that particular mineral. That means statement 2 is not correct. Clearly, easily you can mark it incorrect. और 2 गलत हो गया तो ये गलत हो गया, ये गलत हो गया, and ये गलत हो गया. Correct answer is C. ठीक है? So this is governance related or IR related. This question was slightly technical in nature. As I mentioned in the beginning, which of the these are all elements. Okay, graphite is carbon basically. Again an element, pure form of carbon. बैटरी कैथोड के तौर पे कौन कौन से मिनरल्स यूज होते हैं? कोबाल्ट यूज होता है, लिथियम यूज होता है, निकल होता है. ग्राफाइट इज यूज्ड एज एनोड. So you can easily mark it, only 3. So today's place in the news is UK, because India had signed a comprehensive economic and trade agreement with UK last year. A small part was there about contribution in various social security schemes. For example, India से अगर कोई जाता है TCS या Wipro में काम करता है for a project in UK, so that fellow is going to work there for say 1 year or 2 years. Again, a part of its salary is going to be go in the form of contribution to different social security schemes. Okay, यहाँ पे भी देगा इंडिया में और यूके में भी. So there was an agreement कि डबल पेमेंट नहीं होना चाहिए. If that fellow is paying here in India, he should not contribute to social security schemes in UK. ये माफ हो जाना चाहिए. That is why UK is on the news. This forms the context of this particular news. UK is the place in the news today, and UK is a political entity. United Kingdom. We often interchangeably use the words England and Great Britain. There is a difference. UK is not the same as Great Britain. UK is not equal to Great Britain, is not equal to England. England is a subset of Great Britain, and Great Britain is a subset of United Kingdom. Basically, UK consists of 4 different nations, you can say. As you can see, this particular picture is slightly blurred, but it's okay. This part is UK, the entire marked. A part of Ireland, which is called Northern Ireland, is also part of UK. Not the entire Ireland. Part of Ireland, which is called Northern Ireland, is a part of the UK. The remaining entity, which is marked in grey, is called Republic of Ireland, which is a separate country. इसका capital है Dublin. ठीक है? And this is not a part of the UK. Northern Ireland, Scotland, ये वाला part है Scotland, ये वाला part है England and Wales. 4 nations. Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales and England. Together they make the United Kingdom. There are 4 kingdoms, together they have united to form the United Kingdom, the capital of which is London. England का capital भी London ही है, UK का capital भी London ही है. Okay? Just like New Delhi is the capital of Delhi, the UT, and also India. Great Britain तो फिर क्या है? This island, as you can see, which consists of Wales, England and Scotland, is called Great Britain. This is a geographical classification, Great Britain. Okay? UK is a political classification, Great Britain plus Northern Ireland. Together they form United Kingdom. And England, ये वाला part जो है, is just one of the 4 nations that form the part of the UK. Okay? As we know, UK does not have a written constitution, but it does have a constitution based on conventions and other guidelines. And it has a constitution, but the head of the state, head of the country is actually not elected like here in India. India is a republic. It's a monarchy. Okay? वहाँ पे king, queen का concept है. Currently there is a king. It's a parliamentary democracy. That means the government is ultimately responsible to the parliament. It has a lower house and an upper house. 4 nations. English channel जो होता है, that separates it from the mainland Europe. When we say Europe, normally we exclude the UK, although technically it is a part of the Europe. Why? Because same continental landmass का part है, continental plates. It's a geological concept. But here you can say it is separated from the mainland Europe through English channel. And its closest the neighbor is your France, जो English channel की इस तरफ है, and towards the north is your UK. Climate है British climate, which is very famous. Technically it is called temperate maritime climate. Okay? Temperate maritime climate को हम बोलते हैं British climate. And the major rivers are Thames and Severn. The only land border is Republic of Ireland. A very beautiful fact, because here it is water, English channel, but here Northern Ireland is separated from the Republic of Ireland through a land border. That's it. Okay? UPSC में पूछ सकते हैं question. You never know. Quick updates में चलते हैं जल्दी. India is going to get 2 new telescopes in Ladakh. As you know, there is a place called Hanle, and there has been established India's first dark sky observatory. Okay, that is India's first dark sky park. There we are going to have 2 new telescopes. NLST, which is your National Large solar telescope, NLOT, National Large Optical Telescope. So NLST is going to observe all the phenomena related to the sun. That is why solar, solar flares, magnetic field changing because of the interaction of the solar particles with the Earth's magnetic field, everything. And NLOT is going to observe distant galaxies or about to die stars. Okay, why? Because Ladakh is situated at such a high altitude. The sky is almost clear. There is no light pollution. That is why. And definitely, it's going to help India to collaborate with other countries also. It improves India's global astronomy capabilities. That's it. कहाँ पे हो रहा है? लद्दाख में Hanle, which is India's first dark sky observatory. Park, actually, dark sky park. Observatory is actually one single entity, but if several such entities are present, that becomes a technical park. Next news is about RBI's liberalized remittance scheme. That means whoever earlier used to pay money to anybody situated abroad, it's called outward remittance. Not what India receives, what India sends. There used to be tax imposed on that. Okay, tax collected at source. क्यों? Because नहीं तो फिर मैं चाहूँगा तो बहुत सारा पैसा बाहर भेजता रहूँगा. Okay, that can be my black money, that can be anything. And India is going to require a lot of dollar. जिसके कारण there is a fair chance that rupee will be weakened, which is already happening. Okay, weakening of rupee. Why? Because if we're going to send money abroad, we'll need more foreign currencies. उसी में तो convert करेंगे. And the demand for that foreign currency rises. And whenever demand rises, its price also rises. That means the price of dollar will rise in terms of Indian rupee. That is the exchange rate. Okay, so that's why taxes are collected to discourage that in a way. But now, because many Indian students are going abroad to study for medical purpose, it has been made tax-free up to a certain limit. And what is that limit? $250,000. That means $2.5 lakh के आसपास, or you can say close to 2 करोड़ रुपए. ठीक है, 2 करोड़ रुपए. It covers travel, education, investment widely. TCS, that is tax collected at source. Destination नहीं, यहीं पे इंडिया से भेजने से पहले ही a small chunk is to be deducted. For medical education remittances has been reduced. Only for students and minors, not for business entities. उन पे तो लगेगा ही लगेगा. Because यहाँ पे motive क्या है? Because they don't earn that much, students. They're using their parents' money बाहर जाने के लिए, और उस पे भी अगर tax लगाएंगे, they will actually suffer a lot financially. Okay. And the scheme is run by the RBI under Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, FEMA framework. Okay. Next news is about a portal or dashboard has been created under I4C. We're discussing cyber crimes and AI related, harmful posts, videos, images. इसको control करता है I4C, Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center. उसका एक portal or dashboard has been created yesterday. So it was announced. It is called S4C. S4C क्या होता है? A portal under I4C. I4C is an abbreviation which stands for Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center under Ministry of Home Affairs. S4C क्या हो गया? State Cybercrime Coordination Center. Dashboard under I4C. Okay, that's it. इसमें और कुछ जानना नहीं है. ये काम किस लिए करता है? To check or curb cyber crimes, financial frauds or digital financial frauds. Okay. Scientists map rare mantle earthquakes. ये वाला important क्यों है? ये वाला important इसीलिए है because most of the earthquakes take place at the upper level of the Earth's lithosphere. Okay, that means upper crust. Lithosphere क्या है? It's a mechanical concept, as you all know. Earth's layers are classified under two heads. One is chemical classification और compositional classification, जिसमें हम बोलते हैं कि crust, mantle and core. Core भी आपका हो गया upper core and lower core. Okay, और deep core हो गया. एक हो गया mechanical classification, depending upon the mechanical properties of the layers. उसमें हम कैसे classify करते हैं? Lithosphere, जिसमें आता है क्रस्ट entirely and upper mantle. And most of the earthquakes, उसके बाद आ गया आपका lower mantle और middle mantle, इसका बोलते हैं asthenosphere, and then core. Core इसमें भी है, उसमें भी है. Chemical classification and mechanical classification. Most of the earthquakes occur at the upper level. Deep earthquakes are very rare. You know, at subduction zones, जब एक प्लेट दूसरे प्लेट के नीचे आता है तो यहाँ से बहुत सारे लावा उठते हैं because there is a lot of melting activities taking place. Okay. लेकिन इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द मटेरियल टू बी ब्रिटल, तभी जाके अर्थक्वेक होगा, टूटने लायक. मैंटल में जो होता है डीप मैंटल, मैंटल इज ऑल्सो नॉट लिक्विड, मैंटल इज इन अ डिफरेंट स्टेट, स्लाइटली रबरी टाइप स्टेट में होता है. देयर अर्थक्वेक्स आर वेरी रेयर बिकॉज दे हैव बीन डिटेक्टेड. सो नाउ द अर्थक्वेक मैप्स आर गोइंग टू चेंज. ओके, वी हैव स्टडीड इलास्टिक रिबाउंड थियोरी. जब एक हार्ड ब्रिक की तरह टूट जाता है एंड वापस से द the two parts of the bricks, they come together, the shock waves are sent, and that causes, or that is basically essentially earthquake. Okay, now the next quick update is about 10.5 lakh government servants trained under Karma Yogi mission. So this is capacity building program for the Indian civil servants, state level and national level, and it is taking place under DOPT. So you can use this point in a question based on or related to what steps or measures have been taken to improve governance in India. ये तो मैं simple कर दिया. Any question or similar question, you can insert this point. Close to 11 lakh personnel have been trained under Mission Karma Yogi, which is run by DOPT, Department of Personnel and Training, which comes under Ministry of Personnel and Public Grievance. ठीक है? Because taking into consideration the changes in technologies or digitalization or AI and everything, we need to train our current civil servants to make them tech savvy. India jumps 5 spots on CPI index, corruption perception index. That means how people of India perceive India as a nation as regards corruption. Compared to last year's ranking, India's ranking has improved. It's 91. I think then last year it must be 96. Okay, जितना ऊपर जाओगे तो उतना कम corruption free हो. And hats off to, this is due to the governance cleanliness efforts. And India's score was close to 39, but UPC is not going to ask that. What UPC is going to ask is, it is released by which body? An NGO which is called Transparency International. Okay, corruption perception index. Global wind solar pipeline hits record 4.9 terawatts. Because the entire world is trying to get rid of the fossil-based power, fossil, for example, petroleum, crude oil, coal, everything. We are planning to enhance our production capacity as regards renewable energy sources. जैसे कि क्या होगा, wind power, solar power, wind power, solar power, and other clean sources like nuclear power. Okay. But nuclear power renewable में नहीं आता, solar और wind आते हैं. So the total global capacity is close to 4.9 terawatts. That means 4.9 into 10 to the power 3 gigawatts. सिर्फ renewables. And इसका 1/3 से ज़्यादा भी होता है चाइना के कारण. Okay. India's capacity as regards renewable energy is close to 170 gigawatts. That means 0.17 terawatts. ये 4.9 है, इंडिया का 0.17 है, तो कितना है लगभग 1.7 डिवाइडेड बाई 5, बहुत ही रेयरली 3.4% के आसपास है ना, 3.4 के आसपास है. सो एशिया ड्राइव्स मेजॉरिटी ऑफ न्यू एडिशंस एंड द सैड फैक्ट इज द G7 countries are not contributing that much. G7 countries, the largest economies of the world or the big economies of the developed world, they are not contributing. Only developing powers are contributing. इसका close to इनका है 11%. You can imagine. There are 7 economies like US, Japan, okay, UK, but they have contributed so far 11%. The remaining largest chunk comes from China. Okay, we're building capacities for utilizing renewable resources. That's all. We have reached the end. Now 6 questions will be will appear on your screen. Try to take the 6 questions and please try to use the Digital Current Affairs initiative of Vision IAS to enhance your current affairs based knowledge. Wish you all the very best.